Hello everyone, I'm Bable Jonathan. You welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, as the socio-political and security impasse hitting the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon continues deepening. The national president of the United Democratic Party, UDP, Lawan Bako, says Paul Atanganji, Minister of Territorial Administration of the Republic of Cameroon, is one of the frontline problems of Anglophones. He was speaking to journalists at the press conference in the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda, and authorities in the littoral region of the country take measures to prevent the Anglophone crisis from spilling into the region. This is one of the concerns of a security meeting that started today in Bonaberi in the Douala 4 subdivision. Those were top stories. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the news on Equinox television. Administrative and security authorities in the littoral region of Cameroon are getting more and more concerned by the threats posed by the Anglophone crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. There are fears that the crisis could spread further into the littoral region, and so measures have been discussed in order to prevent the spreading of the crisis, notably from neighboring southwest region into the littoral region. It should be noted that there are many persons who have fled violence in the crisis-stricken southwest region and even the northwest region, and are now seeking refuge in the littoral region. This is one of the issues on the discussion table at an ongoing security meeting that started today in Bonaberi, Douala 4 subdivision. A reporter for me, Armstrong Sander, was there, and this is what he brought back.
There are fears that the Anglophone crisis might spread further to the other parts of Cameroon. This is one of the reasons why the Littoral Regional Security Coordination Meeting is taking place in Bonaberi, which is the gateway into the city of Douala from the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions. The meeting, bringing together administrative and security officials of the littoral region, is coordinated by the governor of the region. According to the mayor of Douala 4 subdivision, the choice of Bonaberi to host this meeting is strategic.
We have problems with the province, with the region of our border of northwest and southwest. And you know, Bonaberi is receiving all our border, and we have to continue to receive them. But the problem is that we ask the service of security to see who is who in Bonaberi.
Considering the fact that Bonaberi shares a long boundary with the southwest region, authorities want to stop the Anglophone crisis from entering into Bonaberi and the littoral region as a whole. The recent killing of a gendarmerie officer in Pendamboku, Mungo Division, has been attributed by many to the current Anglophone crisis. The Littoral Regional Security Coordination Meeting will equally be focusing on other security challenges within the region, including armed robbery and drug abuse. Douala city dwellers are yet to recover from a broad-day armed robbery attack which led to the death of 3 persons at Total BP Cité. Governor Samuel Jodene Ivahad Dibois, Honorable Mangwa David, and other participants say the meeting is expected to come up with strong resolutions to enhance the security of persons and property within the region.
And a deepening Anglophone crisis running on for more than 2 years now has been attributed to the country's Territorial Administration Minister Paul Atanganji and the National Chairman or President of the United Democratic Party, UDP, Lawan Bako, says the government's over 12 billion francs CFA emergency humanitarian aid plan to displaced persons in the northwest and southwest regions and those out of the country is a laudable initiative, but could be punctured by the official in charge of spearheading its implementation. That's talking about the Territorial Administration boss at Tanganji Paul El-Hash Lawan Bako was speaking to reporters at the press conference in the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda. And during that press conference, he called on the head of state, Paul Biya, to investigate the whereabouts of 200 million francs CFA of election campaign money that was destined for political parties during the last senatorial election. I report in the Northwest Regional Capital, Selambu, files and details.
The chairman of the United Democratic Party, the UDP of El-Hash Lawan Bako, has described the Minister of Territorial Administration as one of the problems Anglophones are facing.
One of our sources had made repulsive statements that there is no Anglophone problem. But our head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, acknowledged the effective existence of problems which the government has addressed, some of them, and the concerns of others. The worst of it is that when the said son of ours was appointed to a higher ministerial post, he went to Boya and said, the Anglophone problems are half solved because I am appointed to head this important ministry. What a paradox. His utterances and deeds have given a leeway to Anglophone agitators to continue with their negative acts. So let it be told that he is one of the Anglophone problems himself.
While congratulating the head of state for setting up an emergency humanitarian assistance plan to rehabilitate victims of the Anglophone crisis, he has decried the management of 12 billion francs CFA put at the disposal of the Ministry of Territorial Administration.
4 months ago, the head of state presented 200 million francs for political parties in charge that took for the senatorial election. This money was meant for campaigns, and that money has not been seen. And this money was through the Minister of Territorial Administration, and now to take 12 billion francs and put it under the canopy of the Minister of Territorial Administration is a big concern. And that's why we are telling the head of state, investigate and tell me where that 200 million francs went, because we did not receive a franc as of today. If not so, the 12 billion francs you have put in place and the other money contributed by Cameroonians, that money tomorrow will be another thing which Cameroonians are not happy. Cameroon have to change and change for the better. Those who feel that they are going into government to serve themselves instead of the people, let the gods of this country take them off and put this country in the right place.
El-Hash Lawan Bako was speaking recently during a press briefing in Bamenda, where his party presented President Paul Biya as their candidate for the presidential elections due this year.
Let us pray the God Almighty to enable us join hands together and build a better nation for ourselves, our children and generation yet to come. It is against this background that we urge His Excellency Paul Biya to accept the people's call as their presidential candidate for 2018 elections.
Given the fact that the head of state has lived the problems of the country for several decades now, the United Democratic Party's chair thinks he is better placed to resolve the problems of the country better than other candidates. He therefore advises the president to act now in order to put an end to the already unbearable situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the country.
A Northwest correspondent, Stella, who has been closely monitoring the situation in that part of the country as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned, and she indicates that the situation remains quite tense, with uncertainty and fear looming over the people of the northwest region of the country as the Anglophone crisis continues deepening. In the meantime, contributions continue streaming in from different parts of the country in view of meeting up the more than 12 billion francs CFA target for the emergency humanitarian plan initiated by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, to assist persons who have been displaced by the Anglophone crisis within the national territory and those who are seeking refuge in neighboring Nigeria and elite in the Adamawa region of the country have contributed over 21 million francs CFA. The money came from administrative officials, members of the lower and upper houses of parliament, as well as other personalities and officials from both the public and the private sectors. For greater details, here's an extract of the governor of the Adamawa region, Kildadi Uka. Take a listen.
I am totally satisfied because taking into consideration the time limit we have for to organize this meeting, I do hope that the same spirit will continue, the spirit of solidarity, spirit of cohesion, spirit of what I call togetherness. So I think the Adamawa region is totally committed to support our brothers of Southwest and Northwest in any form.
An internal crisis is rocking the main opposition political party, the Social Democratic Front, in the west region of the country, particularly in the Bafusam 1 subdivision, where the militants have been split into two camps. Notably, that was during the last election to put in place new officials for that electoral district. We have details in the following report.
Bafusam 1 electoral district of the Social Democratic Front in troubled waters. The renewal of the party leadership has split militants into two opposing factions. Many of them are standing behind the former mayor of the Bafusam 1 subdivision. Cyril Nyang has been elected president of the electoral district without the green light of the National Executive Committee Leadership Renewal Commission led by Senator Paul Chachwang. The Congress delegates established a consensual bureau. Militants decided that leadership should change hands on the 17th of June. Meeting in Bamenda last weekend, the national office asked that the election should take place. With regard to the internal rules and regulations of the Social Democratic Front, the 61 cells making up the electoral district were not present at this electoral congress. Thus, the Leadership Renewal Commission members left the hall. But to Barrister Sapi Lavoisier, only the number of cells given by the West Regional Organizing Secretary should be considered. He gave the Regional Commission the list of cells that took part in the 2015 Congress, which elected the outgoing officials. There were 28 cells. In the meantime, 5 new cells have added. There are now 33 cells. The outgoing president of the Bafusam 1 electoral district was absent at the Congress. He says Cyril Nyang was elected in violation of internal rules and regulations of the SDF. We informed the commission that the Bafusam 1 electoral district was not ready to organize the election because we were renewing the cells, preparing municipal and legislative elections, and the 20th and 26th of May feast. The Member of Parliament also rejects as false the number of cells published by the opposing faction. He says instead of 33, there are 61 cells in the Bafusam 1 electoral district. Honorable Defo Umbe Sangong also argues that a resolution of the National Executive Committee of June 9, 2018 asked the National Organizing Secretary to prepare and organize the election with the Chachwang-led commission. But Barrister Sapi Lavoisier and the President-elect Cyril Nyang dismissed this argument with a resolution of the National Executive Committee of May 7, 2016, which prohibits members of parliament like Honorable Defo Umbe Sangong, mayors and their assistants from running for the post of electoral district president.
Out of Cameroon, a German charity rescue ship which picked up 234 people and 17 crew members off the coast of Libya last week still hasn't been allowed to dock anywhere, and close to 350 migrants have been stranded at sea. Katsi, Euronews.
Almost 350 migrants remain stranded on 2 ships in the Mediterranean. Lifeline, a German charity rescue ship, picked up 234 people off the coast of Libya on Thursday and still hasn't been allowed to dock anywhere. And on Friday, a cargo ship operated by Danish shipping line Maersk rescued another 113 migrants, also off the Libyan coast. The Alexander Maersk remains stranded off the coast of the Sicilian town of Pozzallo. Neither ship has been allowed to dock by Italy or Malta, the nearest EU states. On Monday, Italy's anti-immigration interior minister visited Libya and proposed setting up migrant reception centres there. Meanwhile, the migrants wait.
We are spending all our time trying to speak to everybody who wants to listen about this massive problem that we have, and that's our focus. That is to make people understand this is not sustainable. The people that we have rescued needs to be safely landed so that they can get the proper attention that they deserve. That's not something we can undertake, and therefore we need it to be resolved. We are talking about minutes and hours rather than days. We simply need to have it resolved now.
The ship had received a request from Rome's Maritime Rescue Coordination Centre on Friday to change its course after picking up a distress signal from a shipwrecked vessel.
Coming up, the smart side of the World Cup. Is first in with us into the smart side of the ongoing 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. Manjik and Gabriel, you have the latest from Russia.
Yes, Babila, good evening. And just to know that the latest, we already know Group C, the matches there are already complete. They were played this afternoon. We are going to begin with the first game that took place this afternoon, maybe to start with the game pitting Peru. This man, they call him Andre Carrillo. He becomes one name that Peru will never ever forget. He scored the first World Cup goal for Peru since 1982, and it should be known that Andre Carrillo's goal was followed by Paulo Guerrero in the second half, and that of course ended them their very first win in the World Cup since 1982. It should be noted that Peru are picking up this victory after the last one, a World Cup match that was in 1978 when they beat Iran 1-0. So Peru, at least, they are returning back home to their own country with 3 points. Remember, Peru had lost their first 3 matches. A total number of 44,073 fans were present at the field this afternoon to watch Peru win their ever first World Cup game, and of course the first goals that were scored this afternoon. So Peru were a very happy side as they clinched all 3 points. The fans were there in their numbers to support their darling team. They were in all sort of marks, they were in all sort of attire to ensure and see that their team picks up the victory, and the victory was gotten. Australia was the victim of Peru after some years in the cold.
And in another encounter today, Denmark lock horns with, I want to say, almighty France.
Well, you might say almighty France, yes, but the game was a game that was having a lot of tension. There was a lot of pressure on both sides. Even though we already know what is happening with that game, we know that a withdrawal for Denmark was supposed to see them through to the next round, just like France that was just playing for playing sake because they were already sure to qualify for the next round of the tournament. But Babila, one thing is peculiar about this game. The game ended goalless. It is the first game since the World Cup started that is ending without a goal scored. Almost every game that has been played this far in the World Cup, there are already 38 games played in the World Cup. This is the first game, Denmark-France, which ended in a goalless draw. So it was the last game that ended in a goalless draw, and the only game this far, we might say, in the World Cup that has ended goalless. Denmark-France, goalless, even though the action was really jam-packed in the course of the game.
Now, the classification table as far as Group C is concerned.
Classification table, you will see France remains on top with 7 points. Denmark second with 5 points. The two are done for the next round of the competition. Peru will be going back home, heading home, but they have at least 3 points in their pocket after having lost 2 games. But Australia, maybe the Kiwis of Australia, they might be the ones to be regretting. Why can't we pick even 3 points? The Kiwis finished Group C with just 1 point.
And another African side will be getting to the pitch tomorrow. That's Nigeria against.
It is today, in some few hours' time.
Today, sorry, against Argentina of Lionel Messi.
Yes, and just to know that the fans are already displaying along the streets of Russia. Argentina, Nigerian fans mixed together. They're already having fun. I'm sure when they get into the field at Sochi this evening, it will be a different ball game. It will be rivalry between the fans. But for now, we can see them. The first fans are already in the field, and the fans of Nigeria mixing up with theirs of Argentina is a great one. It's fair play. But I want to tell you, Babila, that this game is going to be a crowd puller and a game that is going to amass a lot of tension back in Argentina and back in Nigeria. Why not? In Douala, we know we have so many inhabitants, Nigerians here who live in Cameroon. So it's going to be a tension-packed game, full of attraction. But
it could be a game in which Lionel Messi, we saw him the other day in a picture. The others are going ahead and he's going behind. It could be a game for him to revenge.
Well, if he can revenge, that is why we say let us compare Lionel Messi and Ahmed Musa. Those are the two key players that people will want to see if they are going to start with Ahmed Musa today. You will see if we look at their games played this far. Ahmed Musa 118 and Lionel Messi 180 games. And of course, this far, that is the minutes played. The minutes played this far, and you want to see Ahmed Musa have scored 2 goals in 118 minutes played. And Lionel Messi 180 minutes played, no goal yet. So when we look at it, Ahmed Musa 3 shots, Lionel Messi 12 shots, and we want to tell you that in terms of who scored, who they have rated them already. Ahmed Musa, the person who scored first, is Lionel Messi, who has a total number of 7.34% or rate of scoring first. But at the time being, in 180 minutes played at the World Cup, Ahmed Musa with 2 goals, Lionel Messi 180, no goal yet. We don't know what will happen to them. And for us to look at the statistics of Lionel Messi himself this far at the World Cup, Lionel Messi, he has 12 shots and no goal. That is to tell you that Lionel has not been so...
His performance has been... very low.
It's not been so straight. It's not been so straight this far, so far as the World Cup is concerned. Now, if you want to talk about the record man to Musa, Ahmed Musa, who made Nigerian proud, if you look at him, he's climbing up steadily for the most goals scored by African player in the World Cup. You see the first person still remains Asamoah Gyan. Cameroon's Roger Milla. The Indomitable Lions are not at the World Cup, but Roger Milla is second with 5 goals, and Super Eagles Ahmed Musa of Nigeria is with 4 goals, meaning if he scores a goal today, he will equal Roger Milla's level of goals at the World Cup of an African player bet. That is to say, if Nigeria will remain in the competition, then maybe we might hope that he might become the top African player who has scored as many goals as...
And Nigerians are expecting a lot from him on this decisive day.
Yeah, Nigerians are expecting much from Ahmed Musa. That is depending on the strategy of Gernot Rohr, who is the coach of the Nigerian side. You know, Ahmed Musa was brought in from the bench in their previous game. That was their first encounter that they lost to Croatia. But in the match against Iceland, Ahmed Musa started and even almost finished the game. So it depends on the head coach Gernot Rohr. Just for us to remind televiewers, that after the first games earlier on, these are the second games coming up. We are going to have Iceland to take on Croatia, and at the same time we shall be having the Super Eagles of Nigeria to take on Argentina. Just to know that these two countries, these two nations, they are very good friends. They know themselves so well. In the last friendly in November, Nigeria beat Argentina by 3-2, and it should be noted that even the Argentina side eliminated Nigeria from the last World Cup at the level of the group stage. So they know themselves so well. They are good friends when it comes to football.
So it's going to be some sort of an encounter where they know themselves, and
they know themselves, but one needs the victory. The Albiceleste of Argentina, they must win if they have hopes of remaining in Russia. Nigeria, they have to just play their game. If they score one and they can keep their defense for no goal, good. But a point will play the tricks, because if we look at the classification table of this group, Lionel Messi side has considered the total number of 4 goals, and even a small nation like Iceland with just 2 goals considered can tell you that they have chances. Should they beat Croatia and the results turn around, then we might look at the goal difference. If, and that is it. So the group is still very tight, though Nigeria needs just a point for them to go. Now, maybe for us to finish this evening, to tell you that yesterday we had another African team that played. But before that, to know that Portugal actually had a game to play with Iran. It ended 1-1. And I want to tell you, Babylon, that Cristiano Ronaldo became the first Portuguese player to miss a penalty in the history of the World Cup. Yesterday he had a spot kick, a penalty to take, but he missed that penalty, meaning the 2 key players at the World Cup now that many people are watching, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, they have all missed penalties. So it is equal. Now that match ended 1-1, but to know that that game was just a game of honor, because Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal was already sure to play in the next round. The other game that actually removed a lot of tension was
Spain
that
and Morocco.
The La Roja of Spain and the Atlas Lions of Morocco. And one bad thing is that the Moroccans opened scores. They were met. They went again on the lead, and last minute Spain also scored. So it ended 2-2 between Morocco and Spain. So Morocco is heading home with at least a point. They are better off than their North African sisters, the Pharaohs of Egypt, who returned home with 0 in their back. So Morocco, they will say, after all, we came to Russia, at least we have our point in our back. We are coming back home to prepare maybe for the next edition if they are going to qualify.
Now, the World Cup oldest players.
World Cup oldest players, that is a package to finish this evening. You will see that the oldest player in the World Cup history is Essam El Hadari of Egypt, 2018. Before then, the oldest player was Farid Mandragon of Colombia with 43 years. But Essam El Hadari of Egypt, an African, is now top of the league, top of that classification of the oldest player to have appeared at the World Cup. He is 45 years, 161 days. Well, we talked about this, but we decided to come back to a full classification so that our people out there could also see. You can see in 1994, it was Roger Milla of Cameroon who was the oldest, 42 years and 39 days. So for now, an African is top. He is the oldest player, Essam El Hadari of Egypt, 45 days or 45 years, 161 days. So that is the classification, and that is the end of this Smart Styles for Sports.
Thanks, Smart Jikan Gebre. We'll be expecting you tomorrow with more news from Russia. That was the smart side of the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.